This is Marie of S&M Vegan Chefs. We do catering, pop-ups, private chef things, you know.
Services, they're called services.
Services, various services, I don't know. But yeah, so we're here to do a demo. We decided to go with something that some of our more popular requests that we get from a lot of clients. Just like kind of small bites, appetizer type things, and these are kind of the more popular ones. So we're going to start with like king oyster mushroom ceviche on a crispy tostada thing. Then our trio of crostini, which are kind of popular for our supper club dinner series. And then we have our eggplant bacon wrapped stuffed dates, which are kind of by far the most requested items. So, is there anything else before we get started?
Yeah, we'll save a few minutes in the end if you have any questions to ask us.
Cool.
So we're going to get started on the tostada.
Yeah. So, king oyster mushrooms, you can find these pretty much, I think most grocery stores have them now, but if you can't find them, then like any other mushroom will work fine as long as you can like get it relatively square diced, or you know, you can play with it any shape you want really. But with the king oyster mushrooms and most other mushrooms, you want to get rid of like this really woody part at the bottom. So you just take off that little piece there, take off that head, the cap, then just dice them up. I'm just going to do this quickly. And the cool thing about this is, like, if you're entertaining or having a party, whatever, you can do it like a day ahead. The flavors really meld together after like sitting in the fridge overnight. And then, so when I'm done dicing these, I'm gonna just lightly cook them. You don't want to like cook the hell out of them, because then it's not really gonna have a texture that resembles what people are looking for in like a ceviche. You want to kind of keep it that kind of chewy rawness and stuff like that.
So we're keeping this one kind of simple today, but if you like a more like seafood-like flavor, you can add toasted nori or powdered dulse or any sea vegetable you have that you like in the mix.
All right, so I'm just gonna cook these in a little bit of oil. You just kind of want to coat or like you want to be able to coat the bottom of the pan with just enough oil. And, right now we're borrowing some, so we had to use so we're using canola oil, but we usually try to use rice bran oil or like grapeseed oil. You don't really want to use olive oil for this because you're not going to get much of the flavor isn't going to carry through. If you saute stuff in olive oil, we try not to use that, especially if you're using like a really nice olive oil. There's no point in like spending $15 on half a liter of olive oil if you're not going to be able to taste it anyways. So yeah, definitely reserve olive oil for finishing dishes. So right now they're handing out little tasters of the ceviche. Next, what we're going to get started on is dicing so for this amount that I'm making for you, just a quarter of a red onion. So Just kind of go ahead and get as small of a dice as you can on it. You can also just, if you have a food processor, just throw it in there. We're going to keep this raw. And I'm going to add this to the bowl where we're going to mix everything up. Next, I'm going to do a piquillo pepper. It's a mild chili. You can go with something a little hotter if you want. We just try to keep it accessible to anybody that's not tolerant of heat and whatnot. So we just, same with the onion, we just want to get that going with a small dice. So really I should have waited until the pan was a little bit hotter to throw the mushrooms in so I could get like a nice sear on them, but it's fine, they're going now. You don't want to salt these right now because that's going to just like leach out all the moisture that's in them. So we're going to wait until after they're out of the pan, off the heat, to go and salt those. And yeah, so when they start to, hopefully if you're cooking at home, you have like a little bit more of an even heat source. I'm kind of just putting it on 2 burners right here. So yeah, they'll, in an ideal world, they'll cook evenly throughout the pan. And then once they start to give up their moisture is when they're done for this application. A lot of people use king oyster mushrooms as like a substitute for scallops or even calamari. If you cut them into, say, like a ring like that, and then people will take like a really small cookie cutter and poke out the middle, then fry it up like a little ring of calamari. So I just want to give these like a quick toss. Can get them brown like on 1 or 2 sides, and that's ideal. But yeah, we just want the rawness to come out of them. So like you see how some are like a lighter color, some are like becoming a little bit more wet looking. We want that wet looking thing going on. Okay, and so for a little bit of fattiness, we're going to add an avocado as well.
These are all very strong flavors, so you want the fattiness from the avocado to kind of bring everything together.
So I like to just dice it in the skin itself. If you're afraid of cutting yourself, then you can always just scoop it out whole. Do you have a spoon? Over here. And then there we go. Another way you can do it is just scoop it out like that. And then you have it that way as well. So we're looking pretty good here. All I'm going to want to do is pour that over. A little bit of heat is going to carry over into these raw ingredients. That's totally fine. If anything, it's just going to like mellow out the onion a tiny bit, which works for me. Okay, next we're just going to add the juice of 1 lime and half of a lemon. Okay. And then this lemon is too big for the lime thing. All right, so we have our acidity, we have the mushrooms, we have avocado, onion. Now we just need to season it. I'm going to go ahead and just grate a little bit of garlic. We use a microplane for just mincing garlic really easily, instead of like rocking your knife back and forth on your cutting board for a while for like 1 clove of garlic. Just get a microplane. It's the best way to zest citrus, and it's good for garnishing dishes. You can grate roasted nuts onto a small dish. But yeah, just a little bit of grated garlic. That way, yeah, like I said, you don't need to worry about like somebody munching on like a giant piece of garlic. It's not very nice of you. So yeah, a little bit of garlic is going to go a long way in here. Just going to crack some black pepper. Can you unwrap the tamari, please? Can get a little heavy on the pepper. It's always nice. We use kosher salt generally, and that really allows you to have more control over your salting. So like if you use really fine sea salt or table salt, if you grab a pinch like that, it's going to be a lot more dense because the grains are a lot smaller, so you fit more in there. So when I pick up this much of kosher salt, it's a lot less salt than this much table salt or fine-grained sea salt. So it just gives you a lot more leeway. So like if it looks like I'm putting like a ton of salt, it's just the coarser grains. And I'm going to do like maybe like a teaspoon of tamari. That's just going to give it like a little bit of an umami bump. So, almost done. Just going to add some fresh herbs of parsley here. I like to go heavy on the herbs. It really brightens things up. If you're cooking a dish and there's just something missing, like a tiny something that you know could be improved, it's usually like either acidity or fresh herbs. Like that really brings things together. So with a lot of our dishes, a lot of our food, you'll see like things topped with fresh herbs, and that's just like our go-to. So just gonna get like pretty rough chop. You want to get the pieces pretty small, but don't fuss about it. So if you like go straight across and then like a couple extra the opposite direction, and that's perfect.
When we're just adding herbs to a dish like this, we just like grab the whole bunch that we rinsed and dried and then chop it. Don't bother picking up every herb individually. Yeah,
there's a lot of flavor in the stems, so it's kind of a shame to see them go. if you chop the stems fine enough, then it's not going to be unpleasant for anybody.
If you make your own stocks, also you can keep parsley stems and just throw them in there.
Yeah.
It's a nice flavor.
Same with, so like the lighter herbs, like so parsley, cilantro. We do that, but like you're not gonna want to do that with rosemary. You'll just break your knife. But rosemary stems do have great flavor to add to like stocks, broths, soups. Just remember to take them out. So yeah, lots of fresh herbs. And that's it. Cool. So at this point, it kind of just resembles like a mushroom and herb salad, but you know, tastes good, I think. Did it taste good? Great. Cool. And then, can you grab the tostada things? They're just right there. Oh, there they are. Haha. So yeah, with the tostadas, all we did was just take corn tortillas and like a round cookie cutter and just press them through and then fried them like you would with chips. If you don't feel like doing that, just get some good corn tortilla chips and use that. It's fine. So yeah, just if you want to be nice to whoever you're making them for, you just like take a scoop and put it on your tostada, or you can really just put it in a bowl with all the chips around. Yeah, dates.
Dates.
Okay. So the next dish is going to be the eggplant bacon wrapped dates. Yeah. Cool. So we came up with these little guys for one of our first dinners back in 2013. It was a week after Valentine's Day, and it was our Valentine's Day sucks dinner. So, came up with dates. Yeah. So, are these empty? Cool. Okay. So, don't have the eggplant right now, but I can illustrate as best I can. If you guys are good at charades. So let's say I have a Japanese or a Chinese eggplant. I'm going to trim the ends off and just like shave them like that. I don't know what that would be. Laterally? I don't know. So basically you just have like long strips. And then I'm going to show you how to make the marinade that we use. So it's just going to be a quarter cup of oil, quarter cup of tamari. So we use tamari because it's gluten-free. Just easier for us if we can make things that are easy for people who are, bless you, who are avoiding gluten. Yeah. So then I'm just going to do a tablespoon of smoked paprika, quarter teaspoon of liquid smoke. So the reason I'm using like liquid smoke and smoked paprika is because if you rely entirely on the smoked paprika, then it's just going to taste like smoked paprika. And if you rely entirely on liquid smoke, then it'll only taste like liquid smoke. So it's best to like combine things that have smoky qualities That way they're less detectable as a single ingredient. Same with like umami. So like there's a lot of umami in the mushrooms, but we kind of want to throw some tamari in there as well to like give it another source so that it's not like identifiable.
How much would you say of each of those?
Of these, so we have a quarter cup oil, a quarter cup of tamari, a tablespoon of smoked paprika, and I'm going to do a quarter teaspoon of liquid smoke. And then I'm going to do a tablespoon of water. Let me just get, yeah. So everything's measured out. Just going to whisk it together. It should stay like pretty well emulsified for the time that you're going to need it. The water is just going to make it not so intense. Yeah, so it's going to stay pretty well emulsified. All you're going to need to do when you have your strips of eggplant is just take one end, dip it in, and then pull it out so that you're just dragging it through the marinade. It doesn't need to sit because your strips of eggplant are going to be thin. Then you could, if you're doing a small amount, or if you have a griddle, you can just quickly sear the eggplant just to soften it up, really. And then once that's done, we're going to start stuffing our dates. So you just take a pitted date, open it up, and then maybe like half a teaspoon of cheese, your preferred nut-based, soy-based, whatever cheese. This is our cream cheese, which I'm sure somebody in here must have had it. But you can use Miyoko's cheese, you can use Vitopian, Dr. Cow, whatever.
Ethiopian is really nice because it really melts when you serve them hot. It gives you this nice texture contrast.
Yeah, she's right. And then, so you really only need maybe like 3 inches. I just like disembodied one of them. Just need like a few inches worth, and then you take your date at one end and then just roll it up. And then you can just throw it back in the oven. You can get, if you want to, you can batter and fry them. Or just like sear them in a pan to like add a little bit of crispness. But you really just want the eggplant to dry out a little bit. If you're afraid of burning them, then just, if it looks like you're going to be able to pick it up without it like slipping out of your hand, then you're golden. All right, so that's super simple and delicious. So you get I think it's delicious. Is it good? Okay. Thanks.
Is that a marinade you use for other things too?
Yeah, so you could totally use that marinade to baconify anything. You could use that for tempeh, seitan, tofu, mushrooms, totally. We'll put like a little bit of maple syrup in that marinade, but because we're serving it with dates that are already pretty sweet, there's no need. So like if you want, you can just put a dash of some kind of sweetener, your preferred sweetener, just to get that. I don't know. I feel like bacon is sweet. I can't remember. All right. So our crostinis. Is there anybody in here who is celiac or avoiding gluten? Nope. Okay. If there was, then with the crostinis, what we do in that case is, unless we have access to a really good gluten-free bread that toasts really nicely, which we're not usually in that situation. We just take some endive, however you want to say it, and yeah. So this is your base, basically. Then can I grab one crostini? So again, sorry, it's just crostini. So we're getting started on that. Cool. So yeah, you just want to take like maybe a teaspoon of, again, like your preferred nut-based cheese. Like you can use, if you have a recipe for your own, then go ahead and use that. But any cheese, really, any nut-based cheese works, or like a creamy white bean spread, anything like that. And then what we do is we just take what looks the best for us at the market, or like right now we're at the very last point where we're getting good chilies in California. So we like some of those like sweet chilies to put on, like to add complexity. A good way to add a lot of flavor to your chilies is by roasting them. So like say, just take a bell pepper or something. We use a torch, but you can just, if you have a gas stove, just put that directly on the flame, and just with tongs, just rotate it so that it gets charred evenly. This is pretty fast, so you can kind of see it's already starting to get charred. So what's happening is the skin is obviously getting burnt, and as it's doing that and kind of smoldering, it's imparting a smoky flavor onto the flesh of the pepper. That's why it's best to use direct flame if you want like a good roasty, smoky flavor. But you can also just throw them in a hot oven. Anything that's gonna like really hot, really hot, like 500 degrees. You want the skin to toast before the inside actually starts cooking too much, because you still want that firmness. Blow torches are a really good kitchen tool, to be honest. You know, if you like, you can make creme brulees this way. Like, it's just, yeah, it's good for charring eggplant for baba ganoush. Anything that you want like a quick sear on. And it's great. You don't need to like coat anything in oil. Okay, so that's done. Instead of like waiting for your oven to get super hot and all this other stuff. Then it's super easy when it's like this. The skin just comes right off. And avoid, as much as you can, avoid running it like some people will run it underwater to get all the skin. Don't do that, because it just washes off all that flavor that you worked so hard to get. Just do your best to get any little pieces that remain are fine. So it's really hot, but it's okay. And then you just have like it's like a really good antipasti thing as well. If you have like really nice baguette and good olive oil and a nice cheese and olives and all this other stuff, you just like slice it up. Some people put it on sushi as well. So like if you wanted to put it on sushi, you would just maybe like that. That would be great. Brush it with like some wasabi and soy sauce. But yeah, blowtorches, they're great. And they're not very expensive. All right. So for our crostinis today, we're going with a little bit of summer, and we're welcoming fall. Also, like, you can really put anything that you want on crostinis, whatever suits your taste. You can go sweet or savory. It's a really good vessel for whatever you want to do because I need a new one. It's a really good vessel. It's crunchy. I mean, everybody loves a good crunch. And all we do is slice them really thin. You can, if you want them a little bigger, you can go diagonally it's a baguette. You can go diagonally. That's going to give you a longer piece. You can use any kind of bread, really. And then, so like I was saying, any kind of cheese or puree that you want to use. Then it's really important to like get some kind of balance on your toppings. So like if you have something pickled, maybe go with something that has a good amount of umami to balance that out, or something sweet. So for one of them, we have kimchi. What was the other one? I know I'm going to do scallion with that. Marie? Kimchi and pear. I don't have the pear right now. Here it is. So yeah, we're going with kimchi and pear. So we have spicy, acidic, and sweet together. So that's going to just be hopefully it's going to be really nice on your palate. The best way for slicing pear, I think the most attractive way, is going to be to just cut a piece off the side like that. Then just go ahead and slice like that. You want to get pretty even slices, but if you don't, then nobody's going to die. It's fine. And then, we have some sliced pear. So, I'm going to do my first crostini. I'm going to just grab like a small pinch of kimchi. This is our own kimchi. It's very old. It's very aged, which is desirable. And then we just stick a piece of pear on there. And then we've had this particular one for a year and a half now. Yeah, we made like 5 gallons of it last May. Never goes bad, just gets better. And then I just like to slice some scallions. You can do it on a bias, like diagonally. And then just kind of top the pear. So you have like a little bit of like raw heat from the scallion, some sweetness from the pear, all that good stuff. Next, we have butternut squash, hazelnuts. So With the butternut squash, we just sliced it really thin. You can kind of see. Just roast it at 375 until it's like pliable. It's nice. People don't usually get butternut squash that's like slightly undercooked, like for most people's taste. Usually when you have it, it's like super starchy and has had the hell cooked out of it. But it's really nice to change up your cooking techniques and how long you cook things for. So like with squash, it's like you can pickle butternut squash and it's really good. You don't have to just like cook the crap out of it and mash it up. Yeah, vegetables have a lot to offer, and you know, if we play with them, then they like it. So, just get some squash on here. Another thing to consider when making crostini and you're getting really creative and having fun is less is more, generally. Like it's kind of like pizza. It's like, just think about what's necessary. Like what products do you really want on your crostini? And just kind of cap it at 3. So yeah, here we have a little bit of arugula, the sweetness of the butternut squash with the kind of peppery mustardiness of the arugula and the crunch and the earthiness of the hazelnut, kind of contrasting, playing with each other. It's good. Oh, my shoe's untied. All right, so next we have some green tomatoes that we pickled at the end of summer. I think you can still find some tomatoes from certain farms. I'm not sure which ones have them anymore, but I've definitely still seen a few heirloom varieties around. But green tomatoes are great, just lightly pickled with, like you can just look up a simple quick pickle brine. And yeah, again, it's like a good way to like keep summer around for a little bit longer. If you can hang on to them for a few months before you have to throw them away, but hopefully you eat them. And then we're going to take the roasted red pepper and what else? And basil. That's it. Here it is. But yeah, so think about, color contrast, flavor contrast. That's really the best way to build flavors, is just contrast. If you have something sweet, something savory is going to taste that much more savory. So, yeah. There we go. Did everybody get to try any? Okay, still getting them. Okay, great. Cool.
Bread, like you cut it, and then did you actually roast it before you did it?
Oh yeah. Sorry, didn't go over that. So yeah, what you're looking for with the crostini for the bread, just slice it pretty thin, maybe looking at like a third to half an inch. And you're looking for like a crouton texture. So crouton versus toast. Toast is crunchy on the outside, soft in the middle. You want crouton where it's crunchy all the way through. That's just going to make it, you can make them a couple days ahead. We've seen too many trays of crostini end up in the trash because they get burnt. So choose a lower temperature, like 325, 350. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you have a lot more leeway. And then, yeah, we just like toss them. You can toss them with like a little bit of salt, pepper, and oil before you throw them in, or you can just like put them in just as they are. Yeah. I'd say at 325, 15, 20 minutes. Yeah.
Put it flat on the cookie sheet.
Yeah, flat. Yeah, it's got to be a single layer. If they overlap, then you're going to have some parts that are crouton-like and some parts that have just been steaming, and it's not nice. Does anybody else have any questions?
Are you going to be able to do more pop-ups in San Francisco?
Well, we have one that sold out this Tuesday, but if that goes well with that venue, then yeah, we'll hopefully be doing more in San Francisco in the Mission. Yes?
Cream cheese, I did get to try it. It was delicious.
Oh, thank you.
No more cream cheese.
Right. Yes. So we just kind of had to focus our efforts on other projects. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring it back at some point, but we don't know. We need a fair amount of cash to do that. But yeah, we'll see. Shark Tank. I've heard some bad things about Shark Tank, but it's a good idea. No, we just do our pop-ups and catering stuff. So, yeah, if anybody's in Oakland or East Bay, we have pop-ups every Friday at a bar called the Double Standard on Telegraph. So Fridays 5 to 9ish. Our name is S&M Vegan. Oh, the pop-up? It's at a bar called the Double Standard. The Double Standard on Telegraph. Telegraph and like 24th. Yeah.
Also, I do South Bay vegan drink down in San Jose once a month.
Yeah.
We do
If they sign up for a
vegan food. We
newsletter,
have a
next
guest
newsletter
speaker,
is the recipes for everything.
and these guys are our guests this time.
Yeah.
So just look on Facebook, South Bay Vegan
Yeah.
Drinks.
Also, if you go to our website, SNM Vegan, that's snmvegan.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, and we keep you posted on all the happenings that we're up to. Oh, sorry, one more question. Yeah, so actually, you could use hearts of palm. You could also use, trying to think, like cucumbers. If you skin them, or peel them, seed them, and dice them, and just kind of just put a little bit of salt, and you can like massage them a little bit, so they'll lose a little bit of their crunch. So it's a really nice texture. Also, you could do the same thing with tomatoes. Yeah, so like get some nice fat, nice fat like heirloom tomatoes, take out the seeds and then dice them really nicely, and yeah.
We can talk about the newsletter.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Hyde.
It was great, Shane. Great for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Awesome.